Parents who knock on their kids' doors and then immediately open it anyway, what's your thought process? Oh boy, I can't wait to leave the room without closing the door on my way out. I'm respecting your privacy by knocking but asserting my authority as your parent by coming in anyway. Bonus points for just saying, knock. Knock, at the same moment as opening the door. I had to move back in with my folks after splitting from my wife. My mom tried to pull that shit on me, but I was smart and the door was always locked. So instead I would get, the door's locked. Yeah, no shit. Why are you trying to barge in here? I could be naked with a hairbrush up my butt for all you know. I'm in my 30s. My mom lets me know she decided to come over by pressing her face up to the windows. Sometimes from the backyard. My dad used to do this all the time, until one day I stopped him and told him, look, you're free to barge in whenever you want to, but someday you're gonna come in and I'll be dick in hand. He laughed. I laughed. He knocks and waits now. I remember one time when I was 21 I had my girlfriend over and we were fucking. My mom knocked on the door, I responded that, we're busy. She knocked again so I called out louder, Mom. We are having sex. Nope, not enough. She opens the door and sticks her head in, sees that we are under the covers and then decides to waltz and sit on the end of the bed and talk to us about some mundane shit. All the while, I'm still inside my girlfriend, in a state of shock. Not exactly 100% relevant but was reminded of it and wanted to share. My mother-in-law popped the bedroom door open the first time I stayed at their house. I was 25 and he was 27, my now husband, and I weren't even going to be sleeping in the same room. We were talking privately and she opened the door because she didn't want us having relations in her house. For fuck's sake. Switch flipped after we got married. She gave us a gift bag that included condoms for our wedding night. What the fuck, woman? My mom used to do that, if she knocked at all. So, at my house with my kid, I knock. I let the kid know what I'm doing. Hey kid, I have laundry for you, or, hey kid, I need to talk to you, then I wait for an okay. Only then do I open the door. If by chance I get a, not right now, mom, I say, I'll be back in exactly 3 minutes. And that's what happens. My mom did and still does that when I go back home to visit once a year. I'm 30 by the way. Talk talk talk, can I come in? Opens the door. Sometimes I'll open my eyes to her grabbing empty water bottles out of my room. Oh sorry, I thought you were sleeping. Yes Pauline, I was sleeping until you decided to come in at 7 a.m. on my vacation time for no reason. The worst is that my grandma is nothing like that, only her. No respect for privacy or sleep. When I was 11 or so I knocked on my parents' door to have them help me open something and they didn't answer, so then let myself in. They were having sex. So I'll never do that again. I also don't just walk into people's houses even if they tell me to, I wait for them to open the door for me. When I was 8 I had a friend down the street call and ask me to come over. He told me just to walk in. I do and happen to see his dad walking around completely naked. So needless to say I'm pretty scarred for life. Knocking. Parents knock? My mom took away my doorknob because I shut the door to change my insulin pump while she was yelling at me for not having my college apps done 2 months early. I'm giving you time to put your dick away, but not hide the porn. I don't have a parental answer, but man did my parents learn quickly. My dad would always say, hey you and less than serious girlfriend greater than can come watch TV upstairs with us if you want, nah we're cool. And usually it was just because what high school couple loves hanging out with their parents? We just didn't want to spend out time hanging out with them, but obviously there were some more private reasons too. So one night before we had time to react my dad knocked and threw open the door and looked straight into my butthole with the way the bed was positioned at that time. Honestly, glad that traumatic experience happened to him. I've never had a reason in anyone's house for any reason to throw open a closed door, only excuse is if a bathroom door got closed, and then you slowly open going, hello, to double check. My mother walked in on me using an electric bikini trimmer once. I had one leg propped up on the edge of the tub and was leaning back against the wall with my pelvis tilted upwards. So here I am taming the wild bush, and boom, my mother throws open the door and then acts shocked at what I'm doing. She then later told me that any man that wanted a woman with shaved pubic hair was a pedophile. BC only children do not have pubic hair. I was like, WTF ma. I shave because the hair itches me and I don't like it. Walked in on my kid jerking off once. Never again. To his credit, he took it like a champ. Dude, you're supposed to knock. My mom used to do this, followed by rooting through my phone, computer, and school bag. Created a lot of distrust that ended up with me leaving the house at 14, and not coming back till I was 17, when I found out my father was worse. My mom did this to me with my ex. We were under the covers with his dick up my ass. Had an entire conversation like that. His mom did this to us, but I was copying doggy style. There was no conversation that time. Mostly screaming. Only time I ever do that, I usually wait for a clear response, is when I've asked them to do something one too many times and they have not done it. Me, remember, we need to leave in an hour. Them, okay. Me, leaving in 15 minutes, please make sure you are ready. Them, okay. Me, 5 minutes, you need to come downstairs soon. Them, okay. Me, bangs on door then opens immediately, downstairs. Now, don't care if you aren't ready. I'll carry you if you don't start moving right this second. Them, whining and complaining noises. I can't imagine. My parents would knock on the door, and wouldn't come in until I opened the door for them. Really helped feel like I had some personal space in a very crowded house. My son's doctor told me to start knocking on my son's door, and waiting until he responds come in, at his 10-year-old checkup. I hadn't really thought of it before, but I made sure to do just that. Only time I come in is if I've knocked multiple times, and I figure he is asleep. He will fall asleep with his glasses and TV on, so I come in to take care of that. I had a bed platform for a while, and it got very squeaky. I was cleaning one day, reaching to my left, tossing on my right, the whole time squeaking the bed. My mom didn't knock and immediately open, she straight up bust through the door as quick as she could, having approached it with stealth, whereas any other time she would drag her feet through the hall like a sloth. What it did accomplish, is it almost gave me a heart attack. I jumped nearly half a foot, it was that abrupt. Needless to say, I haven't been able to stop wondering what my mother was hoping to see. I can't even look at her without thinking she's some kind of a creep. You hear your son's bed squeaking, so you sneak up, and bust through the door. Why? My mom used to do this until one day, I didn't close the porn, I didn't put my dick away. I just stared at her and said a simple, yes? She never did it again. My mom did this to us every day growing up. I have 6 siblings and my god, she managed to piss all of us off every single day with this shit. High school was the worst. I don't need you to remind me 6 times in 30 minutes to wake up. She still does this to my granddad who lives with them because he can't hear you, just go in. My granddad will occasionally put a chair in front of his door so that she walks into the door when it suddenly stops, but she still doesn't learn her lesson. This thread reminds me why I moved into a 5th floor apartment with no elevator. My mother hates taking a lot of stairs, medical problem, and she would be in my apartment every day if it weren't for the stairs. I love my mother, but she has 0 sense for privacy. This happened to me when I was about to mount my GF in her bedroom. There was a knock, so we sprung to action and she was pulling her school skirt down and I was rolling off the bed to hastily get back into my jeans. But her mom opened the door approximately 1 sec after knocking, and caught me running like hell, naked, with a bouncing boner, trying to make it behind the door. But our eyes met, so I know she saw me. I stood behind the door and she immediately closed the door again when it clicked what was happening. My mom used to do this to me as a teenager, and then when my so and I moved into their place to save up some money, she still did this. It not only irritated me, but my so as well. We would come home and she would have cleaned the entire room. I repeatedly asked her to stop entering the room when we were not there, as I found it not only to be a breach of my own privacy, but my so's as well. I finally had enough one day and yelled at her when she walked in on me while I was dressing. Her reaction was to say, well, it's my house, and then stomp away like a child. I love my mom, but for fuck's sakes. It's the 0.5 second of minimize that web page warning time. Never has it ever been long enough as well. Man, my mom doesn't even let me close my door. Not a parent, but I never had a door to my room. The excuse was when they bought the house when I was 2, the door wasn't attached, so for 19 years, they never thought to install one. I'm sitting in my room now, age 21, still no door. The truth is my mother doesn't want me to have privacy. She gets mad when I ask about the door, gone through my personal messages with friends on my computer when I went to the bathroom, yells at me when I lock the door to the bathroom when I'm peeing, even though she'll barge in if I don't, has pulled back the shower curtain because I've been in there a long time and wanted to know what I was doing. Instead of, using her words to either ask why I was taking so long or just say that I was taking too long. Like a sane person. Yeah, my mother is awful. Luckily my parents are getting divorced so she doesn't live here anymore. But my assumption is the parent doesn't care about the child's privacy. That they're entitled to know what they're doing all the time, but they don't want to make it seem like that's what's going on, so they knock first to be polite. I know many people who do this and aren't parents, and it's because they don't think about the person's privacy, just whatever they need in the moment. I think this applies to young kids too, but they don't know better and don't understand the importance of other people's privacy.